So I'm calling us to order at 7:09. The Hinesburg School Board, February 16, 2016. Any adjustments to the agenda? Yes, we do have one. We need to add a 5.6 Act 46 committee report. Any others? Thank you. Hearing none. We have no audience here besides those participants. So we'll move right on to 4.0 and particularly 4.1, the performing arts presentation.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank
Do
you
you-
for inviting us.
Do you want to do an introduction?
Sure. Oh,
Okay.
great.
Wow, we get it.
You get introduced.
So we're very pleased to have Danielle Surtz and Cindy Fay here to do a presentation on what they do every single day for our school and for our students. Their program is wonderful, as I know many of your own children have participated in their in what they do in their program. And I'm very happy that you are still here today, even though we did not have school today. So thank you very much for still being willing to come forward and join us. We appreciate that. So I don't know who's...
Great. Well, thank you. Again, I'm Danielle Surtz and Cindy Fay, and we are both the music department heads of
Our
own little small world.
So do you want to define, so your job is?
I do a lot of general music with preschool through 4th grade, as well as the choral program for 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th grade,
And-
as well as some extracurricular musical theater opportunities at school.
And then I do the 5-6 general music, and then I do all the instrumentals, so lesson groups and all the bands. And that's our jobs.
Yes.
All right.
And our days are so varied with all the different age groups rotating through different things. We tried to give you tiny little clips of our day. And let's begin with some of the changes that have been
Do you want me to be the clicker for you,
made.
Danielle?
I think it's okay. I think it's
Okay.
okay.
So as of 2014, the national art standards have come out for music, and it's more or less it's a big change from the last ones we had in that they're gearing towards the whole child, so the whole musician. We're not worried as much about skills. Skills are embedded into the program, and it's kind of the final product, so we're using a lot more backwards design. And the three artistic processes are the three here on top, and we're a little different than the other arts because we put connecting and we embedded it in the three. So music is slightly different than the other arts. I have some more information about that if you guys really want to dig into it, but basically we have the strands that are separate. So you have your, this would be for groups, your ensembles, and then the K-8 has a separate one. And you basically get your standards from here, and then you build a unit from that. So that's that.
General music classes, each grade is twice a week for 40 minutes from 1st grade through 6th grade. Preschool gets once a week, each morning group and the afternoon group. Included in all of that, in addition to the melody and harmony and rhythm activities that we base things on as they get older, we include.
So we have theory books that go along with their keyboarding. So once they're in 3rd grade, they get keyboarding every 2 weeks. So 2 weeks on keyboards, 2 weeks off. So it's a big part of our curriculum. So no more recorders. We use bass clef, treble clef, and they learn them both through the keyboarding, and then there's theory to go with it. We've also just got, thank you very much, I got a Mimeo. So we've been doing a lot online and a lot of the theory and that, a lot of that stuff going on now. So you can get a couple pictures of the 6th graders.
And it all really comes down to encouraging the love of music through all of the age groups.
What grade level is that?
That is kindergarten.
Cute.
That is kindergarten, and they all get to turn. That is important.
Alright.
Yes.
And here we have our band. So in 5th grade, the kids start their instrument lessons. They have the opportunity. Some kids start earlier, but they take private lessons, and then I incorporate them in. But 82% of our current 5th graders do band this year. They meet once a week for 40 minutes, and then they each has a lesson group, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. This would be my beginner band. Their sight reading, I just have to say that first.
Oh, they're adorable. Yes.
And there's 50 of them.
That's the before.
That's a fun day. And this is kind of exciting. This past week, Andy Mishkavage, the high school band director, came with his advanced band and sat in on my advanced band. And it was actually awesome because they sight read the piece we had just performed and we played together. So here's the next final step. Conducting away. We also have an intermediate band. It's twice a week. They're 6th graders, and they're 66% of our population. Once we get to advanced band, we combine the 7 and 8s, and there's roughly a little less than 50 for each age group. They meet twice a week. And that's the regular band. Here comes jazz. So jazz band meets during the rec time on 1 day a week, and it's only about 25 minutes long. It's really kind of short. I was being generous with 30, but it's a really quick one. But they're very enthusiastic. They give up their time. It's a group of 25 kids. They're learning improv, and this was on an improv day. So they would hear it and then respond. To take the fear out of improv. And then we have a group of kids that come in at lunchtime, and they're giving up their lunch, and they sit during, I eat with them, and they're just this great group of jazzers that like to come in, and they've selected their own little band. So this is a group of advanced players. And that's my music at lunch every day. We also do little things for we perform a lot around the school. So they got dressed up for Halloween and we played at lunches. Here's another Halloween, and we also did, at the holiday times, we played for kids while they were eating, which is always fun for us. Small groups. We mix them up. You can see I made them all put their flutes up so they look pretty. These are my beginner trumpets, just to show you how they sound. They sound great, actually. So,
Knows how to suck up too.
Who's that? Oh, geez, I don't know.
Oh, I didn't even know.
I can't believe Sam got the first spot.
But they do get a lesson group, and the lesson groups are anywhere from 8 kids to 12 kids in a group, and they meet for 40 minutes once a week, and that's where they're with their like instruments, and we in the same age levels, so that we can kind of progress and teach them, so they can play in band.
Great. Let's zoom over here. In the you'll drive for
let
me.
me see
Thank
if I can
you.
drive for you.
In the choral world, I meet with the 5th and 6th grade once a week on Wednesday mornings, and with the 7th and 8th grade once a week on Friday mornings. And so combining the 5th and 6th grade having totally different schedules, I rely on the flexibility of both of those grade levels to be able to make that happen, to get the kids together to sing together. Here's the 5th and 6th. With the 7th and 8th grade, we're trying this year, because of the short time frame we have, in addition to the kids are just passionate and motivated and driven to work in their small ensembles as well. So we have a couple small ensemble concerts coming up in March, and here's a rehearsal for one group. that's all you get. But they, but they're all spread out all over to try. That's fine. To try and get space to work with each other, and they've been really encouraging to each small groups. We are continuing to sing as a full chorus as well, and finding the time to rehearse all those things is a challenge worth overcoming. So we just do it anyway. Should we talk a little bit about music festivals? This
Sure.
applies to both of us.
So for the band program, there's two different opportunities for them. We have the Jazz Festival, which was added last year. So we select, and it's more, the teachers kind of put their names forward and from all over Chittenden County. So we had 4 students go this year. And then for the regular district, which just happened in January,
And that's-
it's an audition process. So they have to go and they have to audition in front. And then there's a band and a chorus.
And
Yes.
What is the district?
So it's all of Chittenden County. So all over Burlington, Essex, all of Chittenden
Do
County.
you want to talk about what it looks like so the kids?
Sure.
Yeah.
So for band, it's different, and you can talk about chorus, but
Yes.
for band, the kids learn their scales. There's a list of scales they have to learn, plus a chromatic. And then there's a designated piece that they have to learn, and every kid has to come with that piece prepared, and then there's sight reading. So for the band kids, they have to go on a Saturday, they have to go and play in front of someone they don't even know, with all the other trumpet players if they're a trumpet player. So it's, a little.
And then if they make districts, what does
Yeah,
that look
so
like?
if they make districts, then they go to, they have a festival, and it's a 2-day festival. All day Friday, they meet and they rehearse the pieces, 5 pieces usually. And then the next day, they have rehearsal in the morning, and then they have a performance at night. So of
There's
all
always
those,
a guest conductor.
always a guest
Yes.
conductor.
And it is very fun. We have a clip of the choral conductor this year. The kids just, he was they always find someone that's going to push the kids in a different way, but someone who is an educator, musician.
My father did it.
First, oh yes.
He was a conductor like
Yes.
2 years ago, which was really cool for
And
me.
the process is similar with the choral students for the festival itself. The day of rehearsal on Friday of all the pieces that they've been practicing at home ad nauseum in their bedrooms, as well as in school rehearsing with me, and then on Saturday the concert. The audition process is different in that the teachers in each of the individual schools auditions their own, scores their own, and then we meet together as a group to put together the
So sort of the way the
ensemble.
jazz band works. It's
Yes,
by
and the
teaching.
same thing, the same process is with the state honor choir, which has been, the kids just had a phenomenal time for the past couple of years.
And then we
This-
spend the weeks before the festival teaching them the music, because they send out the folders, and then we make sure they're prepared.
Yes, and when they're prepared, it makes it way more fun.
This guy was hilarious.
They loved him.
I think he teaches at Burlington now.
He does.
He was awesome. And then the band, this is the band. So it's the largest band they'll play in, probably, for their lifetime. And then the crowd is like overflowing. I think there's like
Tickets,
800.
there's always a
The audience is huge.
grabbing for
It's
tickets.
a wonderful thing for them to perform.
With first grade through fourth grade, I didn't put a percentage here because it's 100% whether or not they choose, they want to
like it or
participate,
not.
whether they like it or not. I work with their classroom teachers to, Cindy has in the past, I just happen to have K4 this year, so I work with the teachers to put together some sort of musical around one of their topics. With fourth grade, they do plays about Greek myths, do some songs separating their small skits. The second grade, these are the Aesop's Fables. I do a little scouting of early performance. We've got some good, strong talent here in those young grades. They did a great job with the Aesop's Fables. Third grade is happening on Thursday night this week, the Rainforest musical. And let's hear a little sampling of their rehearsal. We've got some soloists. They're adorable. So we did.
They're adorable. Just
They're-
a coincidence.
Just the coincidences just keep happening. Honestly, didn't anyway. And with first grade we do EI oops in the
Which is the cutest thing ever.
It's the cutest thing ever.
It's unbelievable.
It's just the cuteness, and it's all about it's about the learning, and the cuteness doesn't hurt.
She's got drama.
Yes. And for extracurricular programs, we do 2 musicals a year. Right now, the 4th and 5th grade are working on their Shake It Up with Shakespeare musical. With Stacy Caldwell is a new to the area, and she's doing a great job directing that. In the fall, the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade work on a slightly bigger performance opportunity, and this is so much fun, and the kids are rabid for this program, and I find it really rewarding to meet them on that level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that is we're able to
We have one more story.
we have one more.
Oh, they're really sucking up. Wait till I start singing.
I can't believe you did that.
Look at the eyeball.
The kids are like, oh, that's such a fancy piece.
I know.
I thought you turned in that.
It's great.
that
Somebody,
key. I thought
a kid
it
in
was.
the background goes, "Is that Mrs. Miller?"
Well,
so
she
we
was
have
like
a-
Sean Connery. I just don't perform anymore. That's what it's like,
It's in the secret arsenal of abilities that she may wield at any given moment.
You
So
never know when you need to pull the
you
money
never
out.
know. This was a perfect moment to do that.
Any questions?
Yes, we'd love to
Just
answer any
wondering where my
questions.
singing piece is.
Oh, you know what? It's in the bonus tracks. If you download the DVD on.
Okay, I'll do that.
Now, Cindy, I put it in the notes to the board, but you're here, so do you want to talk about what you just did on Sunday, the
Oh,
performance you
sure,
did?
absolutely. So, Andy Smith, if you know who he is, he's the director in Charlotte, and he does a summer jazz camp. And so, with the interest of a lot of our jazzers that we have at school, they've been pushing us and saying, "Can't you do it? Can't you?" So, anyways, we decided to do a 6-week winter jazz session, it was called, and there were 25 kids from all over Chittenden County met at Hinesburg on Sunday nights, and we just had our big concert on Sunday. It was amazing. It was just great, and the kids were really enthusiastic. We had so many of our 6th graders joined up, and we're going to have a wonderful band. I tell you, I'm like looking, going, yes, keep teaching.
It's such a great opportunity.
Yeah, and it was so wonderful, and it was well done. He's awesome, and I was the band manager, so I made sure everything was working correctly and that kind of stuff. But it was and a great opportunity for Hinesburg to show off too, our building. So, any other questions?
I'll make a comment. My kids sang at the district thing.
Amazing.
The
huh?
whole thing was
Yeah.
If my kids can't hear this, the band blew me
Yeah.
away. It's the strings people and
Yeah.
the whole
They,
wow. So
great talent here. And
if you get a chance, go check it
Yeah.
out.
it's nice to see the kids, not that is a great band and a great chorus here at school, but it's just to be with kids that practice as much as they do, that really excel, and they can come in and do a concert in a day and a half. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Just great. It's fun for us to watch the process too. So that's great.
Is it hard to get boys in chorus?
In chorus, I think it's hard to keep them. They show up in 5th grade, but they don't know what's ahead for them quite yet. So the trick is keeping them singing during and addressing that what comes out today isn't what's going to come out tomorrow, but that everybody's voice changes like that too. And it's not just a male thing where your it's just more dramatic.
Yeah.
And so what I've noticed is the higher numbers in 5th grade and then 8th grade.
Oh.
So 6th and 7th, also there's all kinds of mutation that's happening for 6th and 7th grade, regardless of your gender. And so that keeping, and I think you do the same thing, we work to try and keep the identity of I am a musician, I sing, this is what I do, so even when obstacles.
And I think we both are pretty good about opening our room all the time so that the kids always know it's a safe spot, that for all day long there are kids in our room playing instruments or singing or, and that keeps that kind of you're always welcome kind of a feel. Mm-hmm. So they always know they can come back if they are not.
I guess that's the piece that I would put forth is that at least when I was in school there was a stigma around chorus and band, and you were either a jock or you were in the band or you were in the choral department, and I can honestly say that I have never heard once any mention of, oh, he's a jock or he's in the chorus, or I mean it's a completely inclusive group in both regards, and I think it's because of how we develop the kids along the way. But I would agree that it's for whatever reason that there is that drop off, whether it's the development or
As long as you get them back. I
Yeah.
play the long game.
Well, there's a big scheduling thing too, when it's
The
so new
yeah.
for them in the middle school that, you know, they feel the crunch of getting things done and, you know, and sometimes, you know, it happens,
yeah.
so.
So how many students would you say do self-identify themselves as musicians?
Oh boy, great question. A lot,
A lot.
yeah.
And I think with the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, having music be totally optional.
Well,
Really?
it's in 7th.
In 7th and
Yeah,
8th
yeah.
grade.
So
In
they
7th and
get
8th
general
grade.
music up through
General
6th
music
grade.
up through 6th grade. So everybody is there through 6th grade. And so when we have, I mean, your band numbers are phenomenal
Well,
with.
Yeah, and I think that we teach them in the general music so well to read music and to have that bass line so that when they go to chorus or they go to band, they're not feeling overwhelmed, that they know what they're doing, so it's a comfort place for them rather than, and there's a lot of kids.
Or if they choose not to get up there and perform, because not all of them are, you know, sign up to look at me, that they still have that background
Well, they all do
knowledge and
perform,
experience,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and they've all done
yeah.
they've all done all these those 100% required musicals. I have looking at some of those kids who in kindergarten, they 100% of them they're in 4th grade now. 4th grade. One put butterfly wings on and got up and did a couple songs and dances for their parents, and when it just becomes part of what is expected of you, then I think it just sort of becomes, this is something I can do. This is something I have done. I have, however I felt about it before, during, or after, I succeeded. When you building on the success, I feel like a lot of students would say that they're musicians.
And I think we both bring the older kids in for the younger kids a lot, so they're helping teach, they demonstrate, they do. So there's a lot of mentoring going on with the older kids and the younger kids. In fact, I'm like, no, it's not your turn to teach the younger kids.
Yes.
No, you know. So they love doing that too, and it's good for them to teach someone else.
That's great.
Yeah.
One of our big responsibilities is budget,
Mhm.
financial things. With chorus, you show up with your voice, so that one doesn't cost anything. But with band, you need an instrument.
I probably should mention that we have about 40 school instruments, and I will say that every single one of them are being used. So they're up for the kids. So when you're in 8th grade, you can keep the instrument all the way through, and then in 8th grade, when you move on, you get the instrument back for the new 5th grader. So depending on what's available, some kids may want a trumpet, and there isn't a trumpet available, so they have the option to then rent it, which would be the only way they could have access. So, but we do have quite a few instruments. The biggest problem again then is to keep them maintained because we don't charge kids to use them. So they fall apart every time. And I'm getting really good at fixing them, let me tell you.
But even
So,
even offering
yeah.
up band lessons doesn't happen everywhere. So that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
small group
Yeah.
band lesson that you're able to offer to the kids is huge. So it's not only providing them the instrument, but
Right.
also the instruction that goes along with it.
Well, given the participation numbers, hopefully not the case, but we're a public school. We're supposed to make things available
Right.
regardless of cost. So I would be very concerned if there are kids not participating because they can't afford the instrument.
Right. Well, the instruments are there for them, and we try to fit any kid that, well, you saw 82% of the kids in 5th grade are on an instrument. So, we get everyone who wants it, they're there. We'll find a way. Pi's good about helping out sometimes too, so if there's a
Yeah,
pinch.
different scholarships, and
Yeah.
I think in my 6 years you've come to me a couple of times, and
Yep.
but I mean
Instruments that needed repair.
Okay.
So it's great. It's great to be able to offer them to kids that really have an interest. And we just got an oboe.
We're all really excited.
French horn yet?
We have 2 French horns.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm like, yay. So it's nice when the community gives back too. So
Yeah, every now and
I
then
will
there's
take
one
all
of those
instruments.
magic phone calls saying, "Oh,
I
we
was gonna ask that
just
question, I
found."
got a couple piccolos at my house, so I should.
Good, bring them on.
Okay.
Bring them on. Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
It's great because we do get a lot of instruments, maybe 1 or 2 a year. Some of them are worthy of fixing, some aren't, but at least they're there.
Should have probably put out a little 411.
Which is great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome.
Especially on a snow day.
Nice day.
Look how perfect that was.
Oh, I know.
Wait, was that
That's
part of
how
the presentation? Yeah.
She's good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for bringing the sound in too. That was part of your.
It was great to see the clips.
You want to
Yeah.
listen to the kids.
Cuteness.
The cuteness.
My kids are cute too.
They are. They're just bigger.
All right, reports to the board, 5.0. 5.1 is the principal's report.
Great.
You guys want to highlight anything in particular?
Sure. I don't know if you want to.
Thank you.
Goodbye, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, someone's going to be kissing an animal on Friday.
Yes.
Not me.
I have heard about this.
It might be Jeff. We're not quite sure who it is going to be. It looks like the pig is the one that's winning right now. Do you want? I have an extra paper copy. Does anybody want a paper copy?
I'm good, I read it.
Yeah,
I'll just,
okay.
thanks.
And our 6th grade team I just was at Lampman's, and there were 2 6th grade girls selling the raffle tickets, right? They had, their dinner consisted of candy, so I did say something about that, but the kids are really excited and embracing this, and we're hoping that it really is a big community push for our school to benefit the Bissonnette fields. And we put the Be a Star, wanted to put that, kind of promote that in the month of February, so we added that component to it also, which has been fun. So that'll be on Friday. We were hoping to have snow, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm not quite sure what it's going to be, because the fields might be icy, so there might be some stuff happening inside, and then maybe an all-school walk around the perimeter. I don't know, we'll figure it out. You haven't lived, of course, I've spent over 20 years teaching recorders in my general music classes, but now hearing them again in 2nd grade classrooms as they're preparing to be part of the Vermont Symphony Orchestra Carnegie Hall Link-Up concert. They're learning all this music, and their kids are having a blast learning the recorder and these songs. And I don't know, the whole Flynn with recorders, it's gonna be wild. So, we're also doing the food drive. That's an annual thing, and it is purposeful to do it after the holidays. That's when the food shelf has asked us to do this push, and I know that we're getting a lot of cans for the food shelf. And the jazz at HCS, I wanted Cindy to talk about that, because it's such a wonderful thing that she and Andy Smith did together, and 25 students from throughout Chittenden County. That's just amazing. Kids giving up their Sunday night to do that. Jeff and I have also been working with our wellness committee to provide a few wellness things just for staff. They do the walking Wednesdays. I can't remember, if you walk around the inside a certain way, it's, I don't know, maybe a mile. They've got this whole route planned out. And there's yoga after school. We have somebody from UVM who's coming to teach that. And Friday morning, just for February, we're providing coffee and fruit for staff, just as a little get-together in the flex space. And we're asking for people to donate towards pediatric cardiology. And I don't know, we'll probably end up with over $100, I think, that we're donating to them just from staff. But it's been a nice way for us to get together in February and to promote wellness. So I think that's it. There's a lot going on. The play day was really successful. I did a link there so you could see that. It was, some schools in the country did it for the full day. We decided let's just try a portion of the day, and it was K2 classes. It was fun, and what teachers really remarked on is they didn't have to supervise the kids, like say, well, wait a minute, don't do that, or do this, or don't do that. The kids were figuring things out and cooperating with each other, and if there was a problem, they figured it out themselves, and they were very excited to do the play that was not electronic, but it was Legos or board games or trying to build bridges with, the wood blocks, and how do we figure out that problem. And so there was a lot of positive social development that was happening, and teachers were able to observe, and the kids had a blast. So I was glad that we took part of that.
Ms. Lasher did a great job with
Did she?
talking about it on
Yeah.
CAX. I happened to catch that.
Yeah,
It's
she
very
did. And there's a link there for it too, if you want to look at that. Again, so that was it. Additionally, I know that I didn't put it in, but Katie O'Brien is at it again with another installation she was working on with 5th and 6th grade. And you're just seeing it being created in the flex space as the kids are coming in groups of, small groups to do this. She was doing it Monday afternoon, and it's just so much fun to watch it. And what she has to do to kind of, well, they did this, so I'm going to do this a little bit, or do that, And I think this one is going in outside the gym, but just phenomenal. Just such a great, she is amazing. It's just such a great addition to our school and our climate, and, parents that we give tours to, one of the very first things they say is how beautiful the building is, and how engaging, and just to see all the children's artwork is great. So
I walked in, she told me not to look at the floor.
I know, yeah, there is that.
So just keep your head up.
Yeah.
Just,
Tim just got back from vacation, but that's okay.
That's okay.
it's okay, right?
It's
exactly.
just a floor.
It's
That's
just a
right. We
floor.
can clean the floor.
Yeah, the birches down the hallway.
Aren't they?
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Incredible.
It is, and I tell parents, yes, 2nd graders did that. What? They just can't believe it. Yeah, they're beautiful.
All right, thank you.
And it's not in the principal's report, but we get new students coming and going all the
right,
time, and but we did receive 2 students on Friday, really from Italy.
Yeah.
Which is
Wow.
really cool.
Expats
a
or
very-
really Italian?
Yeah, really Italian.
Wow.
And
What ages?
8th grader and a 3rd grader, and they had a very short stopover in New Jersey, but so they joined us on Friday, and the 3rd grader is just adorable, and the 8th grader has a lot of people willing to help him out.
Right.
So it's been great to welcome him, and
I've not heard about this gentleman, I'll have to.
yeah.
Interesting. Thank you.
It's good counting for this year, though.
5.2 CSSU debrief. Who wants to handle that one for Kathy's benefit? You were at the part of the common topic. I think you came in at the tail end of that.
Tail end, yeah.
Okay, all right. I mean, I guess the biggest news for me was the FMR for the SU.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's down 180,
180. And
180,000.
our share is 25.
Our share, well, yeah, so that's something to keep our eye on. Which might come up a little bit later, you know, in our FMR.
Won't be Kathy's issue, seriously.
Yeah, it won't be Kathy's issue, sorry.
I'm still maybe thinking.
There's committee
Our
work.
school.
Yeah.
That was said with all love, don't take it to the.
And a little envy. All right, so, okay, so then we'll move on then. 5-4 parent council debrief. Unfortunately, we don't have someone from PI here. I'm gonna say this out loud to draw myself another mental note. I need to be in touch with PI to try to get on the agenda for their April or May meeting to talk about Act 46 with them. So I will do that. I know, I will tell you, I'm on their email, I think, Bill, I saw you on it. They are doing legwork to get the vote out for the budget vote on March 1st. Facilities Committee, this is a placeholder that
Do
we
you
put.
want
Yeah, go ahead.
more of an update on Pi? They have an event
Sure.
coming up, and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Allegra and I are both sitting in on those conversations. So they did a little legwork and surveyed a subsection of our entire population of parents to ask what are the pressing inquiries and questions and wonders that parents would like to know more about. We've tried to do that in the past just to
Yep.
figure out forums and things of that nature.
Yep.
So the one topic that prevailed was around proficiency-based grading or standards-based grading.
So I'm off the hook.
It's what was another one? What was it?
Something about the budget. They
Oh,
asked,
okay.
they asked me to hold that date.
Yep. So Allegra and I were deeply involved in the conversations about what it would look like, and I thought it would be really great to have people from the SU come and sit on the panel. So Adam Bunting, CVU principal, has agreed to come, and Jeff Evans, director of student learning for the SU, has agreed to come, and Patty Tomashat, the director of guidance here at CVU, has
That's great.
has,
Absolutely great.
has been able to confirm her spot. So what we're thinking is a very brief 15 or 20 minute overview, kind of going over the definitions, and here's what it is, and here's how it looks in the classroom, and then really opening it up to questions from parents, just as an educational piece. It was a good reminder for us that as much as we know about it, we can't assume that the students know as much as we do, that the teachers know as much as we do, and then lastly, that the parents know as much as we do. So that'll be happening on March 8th, maybe?
8th.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that information is gonna be going out via Connect 5, and we're really gonna try to get as many people as we can. Because the more people that know about it, they can begin to speak it to the others.
Yep.
That's great.
5-5, we have a placeholder for Facilities Committee, just to prompt us to see if there's anything to talk about. Okay?
I think one thing, we probably should set a meeting at some point. It's coming up on the baseball season again, and that always reminds me of the field and.
Gotta do it before March 1st.
Yeah, no, I know. No, it's just it's one of those. It's a sad situation, and it's one that we can discuss at the facilities.
We talked about it during budget season, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you really earmark things like that, but I know we talked about it, and our intent, I think, was to try to support that.
I think we talked about it before budget season, we thought we might be in a better
That
spot.
could be, yep,
Mhm.
okay.
And then budget season came and we're like,
And then the broader conversation around numbers and participation, and
Yep.
this past year, last year, we combined with Charlotte, and
Yep.
we ended up using the Berry Farm, and there has been, and Colleen, you could probably speak to this better than I, but I know in my short term at HCS, there's been parent groups that have tried to salvage the field unsuccessfully, and so I mean the bigger conversation is, do we look at
Yep.
doing something differently with the field?
Yep.
Well, my impression is, because, you know, Tom Ayer put a lot of money and time in a few years ago, and not to criticize him, it was sort of a half measure, meaning did the best he could and tried to fix it, but half measures aren't gonna solve that problem. If we're gonna fix it, we're gonna spend a lot of money to fix it.
Yeah.
And that's the unfortunate part, you know?
Yeah, and I don't think that it would be, it may be significant enough where it wouldn't just be an addition to the budget. I mean,
No, I think you're right, it's, I
Yeah.
mean,
Bond.
I think it's bringing in lots of soil, raising the field, drainage, you know, one of those situations. It's not, you know, regrade it and plant some seed, you know?
Maybe this is a topic for retreat.
Yeah.
In the
possibly,
sense
yeah.
of coming up with a schematic or
Yeah.
a progression
Well,
for the next year.
what-
Because we also talked about using the wetlands differently,
What I would like to know on this
and maybe
is-
Kathy would volunteer as a community member.
Wow.
Wow, just brazen gully.
That's not a long-term commitment, it's just a year or two.
Are we gonna be able to combine with Charlotte again this spring? I mean, is that is that a solution that might continue to be utilized?
if I were to guess, I would say that in order for them to have a team, they would need to combine with us, and I
Yeah.
don't know if the opposite would be true. But I think last year it was only a student or two.
Yeah.
So if it's only a student or two who wouldn't take away a spot for a Hinesburg student, then I would definitely support it
Okay.
and welcome it.
All right. I mean, I think that on the field, it's how much would it cost to do a total rebuild for baseball versus, you know, is it time to essentially not have a baseball field back there if there are other alternatives available?
That's why it's such a complicated issue.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
really, what's the next step of using that space? And maybe it's something different.
Yeah, so I agree, that's probably a
Potatoes.
good topic to talk about when we have a little more time and a little more background to.
I like the
chew on.
idea about the retreat. Yeah.
Okay. All right, 5.6, Act 46 Committee, do you want to take this, Colleen?
Sure. I don't have a lot of handouts. I have one. But essentially,
need it?
it's,
Do you need
it's
it?
just, no, thanks. It's just a reminder, Act 46 Study Committee has continued to be meeting for town meeting. In our annual school meeting, we're not presenting because we want the focus to be on the school and the budgets for next year. But our study committee members will be ready to answer questions if anything comes up in each of the communities. We'll also have handouts that provide some background information, direct people to the website, and a list of some dates for some forums. One of the forums that we're going to do is a CV Unite, Act 46, CV Unite, and have it here, have it a little more dynamic, the presentation dynamic, have it broadcast so that people can participate even if they're not able to attend or, you know, at least observe. And that's April 12th, I believe, at 5:30 to 7:30. We're also asking each of our board chairs, the school board chairs, to identify a date with the select board in their local community, and just so that the Act 46 Study Committee can be on their agenda and have a conversation. It's, you know, our local governance, and we want to make sure that all stakeholders are well informed and are able to ask questions and so forth. Our process right now is a draft report is in the hands of legal counsel, and we should get that back in a couple of weeks. We make revisions, then the report goes to the agency Education. The agency reviews it, gives us feedback. We make further revisions, and then we're having a vote by our study committee whether to advance the report or not to the State Board of Ed. That's going to happen March 27th. And then if we vote yes, it goes to the State Board of Education. State Board of Ed is meeting on April 19th. They will either accept it or not accept it. It's likely if the report, after it's gone through all the hands and reviews, it's likely that the State Board would accept the report. And then it would be a matter of moving on to a vote, and votes would occur. At this point, we're thinking that a vote would be May 24th, a Tuesday, would be by Australian ballot in each of the school districts. The necessary, what are known as necessary, are Charlotte, Hinesburg, Williston, and Shelburne, thank you. All of those have to vote yes. St. George is an advisory. They can vote yes or no, depending on their particular inclination, but I think, it's really favorable to St. George. But the necessary towns voting yes, we want that for this round to go forward, because if there was not a necessary voting in, we would end up with this weird configuration of boards with, maybe 3 K-8 boards and, one standalone board, and then CVU board, and then the SU board. You'd go from 7 boards to 4 boards at best, and that makes no sense to most of us on the committee. So we're saying that all have to vote yes, or it's not going to happen at this point. Am I forgetting anything, Keith?
I don't think so.
Any questions?
Does it have to be a certain percentage?
No. Well, majority.
Majority.
51.
Just, right, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it had to be like
Not
2/3.
like a senatorial, or, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So Hinesburg would have to have a majority voting
Yeah,
yes,
it's
Williston, see.
Right.
Majority in each town. It's
Yeah.
not commingled.
And that was a choice of the committee.
Okay.
No.
No, I mean, the choice of the committee was to make it the
The
necessary.
necessary and
and not
advisory
necess-
was a committed choice. The
Right.
voting by town is statutory.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
not like the distinction is, this vote is different than the CVU budget vote. The CVU budget vote is commingled, and then a majority, no matter where those votes came from, carries.
And then if there were an affirmative vote, there would be 1 year of 2 sets of boards operating side by side. There'd be a new board that would have to organize, start developing policy, maybe it's adoption or developing the budget for the next fiscal year, and the current existing boards would follow through for the year, overseeing policy and their own budget and so forth.
So with shared membership to both
It's
boards.
likely that there would
Yeah.
be shared membership, only because of the
yeah.
configuration of who might be running and who might not be. But there would most likely be overlap.
So would they have to be elected then?
Yes, so we'll bring more information to community members about, there's a 30 to 40 days, there's the warning for the vote, and during that same period of time, we would want people to make sure that they had their petitions together. So we'll have to provide people with information about petitions and the dates and so forth. So if, let's say that we get to the point where the State Board of Ed approves April 19th, it automatically triggers the vote. We don't have to make any decisions after that. It just happens. And we would need to make sure that people had all the information they needed to make an informed vote on May 24th, whether or not to consolidate, and also electing board members. So they're
Sorry, now I'm thinking of all these questions. So is membership
good.
based on student enrollment? How many members we have,
population.
population of the town?
Yeah, so, The board, for a consolidated board, could be up to 18. Our committee opted for a configuration of 12, and the way that plays out is Hinesburg 2, Shelburne 2,
Charlotte too.
but, thank you. I should be going in alpha order, that's how I usually keep myself straight. Charlotte 2, Hinesburg 2, Shelburne 3, Williston 4, St. George 1. If St. George votes no, then it would be an 11-member board.
So no CVU.
Good question, that's a really good question. So CVU is a unified district within our supervisory union. And that would go away.
It'd be one board for all the schools in CVU.
So the members are really representing the town,
Yeah,
is how that changes. Okay.
and so the
Well-
next,
No,
Sorry to be all lawyer on you, but no, the members of the board are not representing the town. They are representing the students and serving the best interests of the school and the students in the schools. They may come from those towns,
Okay.
but
They're
their
elected- they're
responsibility
elected by the town.
is to oversee the schools and the students,
But all of the schools.
all of the schools.
Okay.
so I think, the next question that typically comes up in these conversations is, what's the role for local advisory pieces here? And this is something that I think principals are likely going to take a significant role in. How do you ensure that as a principal, you're informed about what it is that your community's looking for related to budget priorities or new program interests or facilities issues and so forth? A consolidated board would operate through policy. These are the policies that operate the SU, or the supervisory, the unified district. And these are the expectations, outcomes, these are the reports we expect. It's almost a hands-off role. I think, as we have had these conversations, I think there's different understandings about what board members do in different communities. And some boards might be more interactive on a regular basis in the school. Keith, you want to talk to the board role?
Board is to oversee policy and operate and management, not to involve itself in operations. I mean, in many respects, if you want to draw an analogy, it would be much more akin to the SU board than to any of the district boards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, right now, that's a great parallel. If we look at enrollment across the supervisory union and we look at budgets across the supervisory union, right now, 1/3 of our students operate under a shared governance model. They attend CVU. So 1/3 of our students are already enrolled under a shared governance model. 2/3 of our budget, combined budgets, out of $70 million of combined budgets, 2/3 of it are managed through consolidated systems. If you add up the CVU board and the CSSU board, that's 2/3 of our dollars. So we're already doing a lot of work under shared governance models. So in some ways, I think this is more transparent because you would need to be in a position, a board would need to ensure that transparency and engagement with community members and reporting out and so forth. And I know every coin has two sides, but there's another way to look at it as well.
Well, lots more to talk about and develop and communicate with the community, which we will keep doing.
Yeah. Good
All right.
questions.
Moving on, discussion matter 6.0, 6.1, speaking of policy, there's two policies in the packet, both related to buses. Cindy, of course, as normal, did a nice summary of the changes. In my view, it wasn't terribly problematic what those changes were. Any other thoughts on those things? All right. Moving on, 6.2, budget informational meeting preparation. Jeff and Allegra were kind enough to put the slides from last year's meeting in our packet. I guess what I'm looking for is feedback or thoughts from you guys on what is missing that you'd like to see, or ways to improve this information to convey to our community, other than obviously changing the dates and numbers for this year's presentation.
I just want to back up and say you did a great job with the flyer. That was awesome. Thank you
I'll
for
get to that, I'll get to that at 6.3, how about that?
The only thing I thought of, as we discussed this before, was the old, Elaine provided us that SU dollar.
Do you have that? You probably don't. I have it in
I need the
email.
full sentence, I'm not.
Elaine provided us with a
Sorry,
with a
sorry.
PowerPoint. There were some questions at the SU board meeting about the SU budget, the size of the budget, how much it had grown. So Elaine came back with a nice presentation, and at the end of the day, she basically showed that CSSU, she did a formula of dollars spent per student at the SU level.
How about this? How about this? I have it in email. I will send it to you and Sandy and say, can you give Jeff this information in a slide? And we'll have it in the reel, but we won't put it in. But if someone asks about the costs of a central office or a consolidated system, I can pull that up and we can say,
The good
well,
news was is
actually,
our office
that's
did a
a great
much better
question.
job than.
it's a great question, but in fact, our CSSU is much lower than comparable ones.
So that table might need to be adjusted because
It does not identify other SUs.
So,
I'm just saying.
So what if it does?
It does not identify other SUs.
So what if it does?
And, you know,
So what if it does?
if someone deduces that in the audience and then wants to say something about it,
Let them. We need to be transparent. There's no reason to hide the facts from the communities, no matter what.
so.
But we're very efficient.
Today we would have been a round robin, and what that means is CSSU administrators come and meet with building level administrators, and because of childcare issues, we had to postpone it today. But one of the questions I was going to ask is, we got a template from CSSU on a budget presentation.
oh,
So I have to see if that's a must, or to use that template.
okay,
So it could look drastically different, but of course I will show it
okay,
to you prior to going to in front of the audience. But
please.
but if I guess my wonder to you is if that's an option, what we did last year, is that common and known to you and the audience, and should we keep with the template that we had, or it's hard to say without seeing
It's
the
hard
other
to say
one?
without seeing the other
Okay.
one, but this is what we're familiar with, what our community is familiar with. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Okay, well, we'll work with central office and see.
Okay.
Because we can just put the information that
Yep.
they have sent to us into a
Yep.
format that
Yep.
works for us.
And, you know, this is no secret, given what I've said before. Honestly, I'm hoping this is the last time we use this presentation.
Jeff is too.
So did I see enrollment? I really like the class size. I think that's good. You know, the conversation in the state is consolidation and increased class size. We're already at the upper end of it.
Yep.
As a community member, what I think is helpful is just your bulleted list of changes in staffing.
Yep.
But I was looking for that in relation to enrollment. Like our enrollment is stable, we're changing program, and this is how we're changing program. Or our enrollment is changing, so we needed to add teachers or whatever. I was just looking for population, for enrollment closer to the decision-making related to changes in staffing.
Would it
So-
be on page 4 of that, but page 4 with,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think here, yeah.
What I'm kind of hearing is in this
This
slide,
one, yeah.
maybe just to the right of each one, sort of a little blurb on why. Like last year, we added a middle level
Oh,
teacher,
Okay,
hyphen, because sixth grade class size was too large, or something like that.
yeah, additions to supplies, equipment.
I think
because
it really
Jeff
helps
screwed
people
up.
understand.
I'm just kidding.
If you want to put that,
No, I hear you coming, well.
And,
we'll do
and where
something
the
like that.
subtractions are too. The rationale behind the subtractions.
yeah, like our coordinators.
Yeah, like we decided to change our delivery model, whatever. That's all I need to know.
Yep, okay.
It helps, I think one of the biggest challenges for public education is to help community members understand what happens in a school. So anything that we can do to help people
Get on
understand.
school board.
Exactly. I'm on the school board. I don't understand what goes on in the school half the time, so.
You'll learn lots doing that. And because energy efficiency, I think, is a big topic in town, that next chart on the creating more cost-efficient system, just add 2015 in and leave the same, just give the new year, but leave the
Yeah.
same information.
Yeah.
Total looks bigger.
That's what I'm hoping.
It probably wouldn't be a good thing if we detract.
And I do love the question, what will it cost to achieve our mission next year? No, change it. Bill wants to change it.
That's a political speak question if I ever heard one, you know?
Well, we always start out with our mission, so.
But you can,
What are we proposing?
That's true.
What
It
are we
could cost a
proposing
lot
to
more,
spend?
actually.
that's my point.
Yeah. All right, any other thoughts on the budget presentation?
What, I mean, now that you've put my eyes onto that slide.
Which slide?
Okay, I see, the one, what will it cost to achieve our mission next year? The cost per equalized pupil went down 3.7%
Last year it did.
last year, but then budget factors driving increase. That makes it seem like the budget increased.
It
So
did.
I
It
just-
went up 2.62%.
But
It's
we
the-
shouldn't
it's-
be highlighting as much in the same way as what will it cost to achieve our mission. I think you could
Well,
just do
it's-
2015-16 budget factors.
Yeah, as long as we have the cost per equalized pupil somewhere else, which you don't have on the next slide. Yeah. I mean, because that's one of the questions I'm expecting to be asked is why is our equalized pupil going up 2.01% when the budget's only going up 1.25%? And that's the apples to oranges question. Because of the way calculations are made, two different formulas with different components in each formula, it's like comparing apples to
And
oranges.
you could bring them back to this.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
that the budget went up 2.62%, but the equalized pupil count
yep,
or cost.
yeah.
Okay. So usually Keith gets a sneak preview, and I guess that'll happen again this year, and it's gonna happen over break.
It'll happen over break. Okay. 6.3, Communications Boards Corner. So this is not only that, but, you know, communications in general. As you've seen, we completed the flyer. It is going to the Records publisher by Friday, this Friday, the 19th, and it will be in the Records issue next Friday or Saturday morning. It will be in the Viking on Friday.
Yep.
It will be on the school's website at some point in the near future. Once I see it go out in the Viking, that will hopefully prompt me to then start putting it on Front Porch Forum, which I will do from time to time between now and March 1st. As I mentioned in the PI report, the PI folks are starting the legwork to try to get out the vote. One of the things that's been proposed to do is to do basically a phone tree kind of thing, but one of the parents has mentioned or proposed the use of the, what's it called, Connect 5? The phone system.
No, absolutely not.
I'm with Bill on that.
Elaborate?
The schools, although a budget getting approved is important for the school and vital to the school to operate, I don't think it's the school's job to promote the budget, advertise and promote the budget.
Our role is to get information out. We're not, and obviously, the information we're putting out is something that we came to some agreement on, but we can't be using dollars, taxpayer dollars for a yes vote.
That's not what anyone is proposing doing. What if we were to do this, and I'm just floating it as an idea, the message, I actually don't have it, I might have it in my email, but the message essentially is go vote. The vote is on Tuesday the 1st. Go vote, which is a very abridged version of what our brochure flyer says.
My concern is that it targets a very specific population and is not the entire community.
I think it's an implied message of go vote and vote for the budget. Whether we say it or not, it's implied, in my opinion.
It doesn't feel right to me, but I could be, I don't know, I could be wrong. But my gut tells me, don't do it.
What do you think, Keith?
I'm not a strong objector to it, but at the same time, I'm not sure I'm a strong proponent. What I said to this particular parent is it's a perception issue. I don't think it's a financial issue any more than
Me either.
spending money
resource.
to do a budget flyer was. I think it's an informational issue where we're just conveying information and apprising people of the vote and encouraging them to go vote, not saying yes or no. But I could see how people would take the perception, I think that Bill, you espoused, that, you know, you're quote unquote targeting only a certain,
Well, it's a closed list.
yeah.
Like, I'm not on the list. I never get those calls. So,
Thankfully.
It was really fun
If-
this morning to get one.
Or how
If-
about- how about
If
the
we
last
could
to
do
see
that
folks
for the
last
entire town, we
few
would.
weeks?
yeah,
So-
I mean, that's
See,
different
here's
to me.
Mr.
That's very different.
So I had the same gut reaction, but now as you guys are talking about it, I'm wondering, the Viking only goes out to a very small.
It's available on the web.
And it's
So-
posted on Front Porch
So I
Forum.
guess as my thinking went along, I wondered if it wasn't just encouragement to vote, but if you'd like more information on the budget, you can go to the website. So that it takes on a different tone to it.
I don't know, it's the same thing to me.
Yeah,
So,
it's,
yeah. It's definitely your call, because it's budget.
All right, well, I'm not hearing,
I think people, you know, as a parent, and I'm thinking back to when my son was younger, which was a long time ago, calls that would be on some kind of alert You know, to me, that's like, this is so gosh darn important.
Yep.
And it's worth being woken up at a, you know.
10 of 6.
Whatever.
Bob Mason.
Hypothetically.
Bob Mason, are you kidding me? What a whip!
What did he say?
Oh, he's always got this cheerful voice. Like,
This is
oh.
Bob Mason for
And you're like,
CSSU.
that's all you have to hear. This is Bob Mason.
Click. No school today.
Okay.
All right. So
Yep.
I'm not
I'm
hearing,
advocating
2
to be
hours.
on the list.
I'm not hearing definitive support or objection, and in light of that, I, as the board chair, to the extent I get to make this call, which I don't, but my view is without definitive support for it, then we just let it lie and not use it.
Okay. We can communicate that with
Okay.
the parent that's brought it up.
Okay.
Hey, Keith, I'm not sure if you're ready to move on. Did you skip over 5.3?
I think I did.
Yeah.
Because
It's-
I was
it's
gonna-
in-
I
It's
was-
in good standing, but I wanted to be sure that you. I wanted to
I
say
actually-
the most important thing
I
that we do.
actually realized I skipped over it, and I was gonna come back to
Oh,
it
okay.
in 7-2.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna come back to it to let you
Okay.
elaborate if need be. All right, so let's go to action matters then. Section 7-1, scheduled retreat date. Recommendation is May 26th. I will also point out that the SU scheduled their retreat that day, so it would be awkward if we didn't. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to set our retreat date as May 26th.
So moved.
Thank you, Bill.
Come on, Kathy. Come on, have it a second. I'll second it.
Thank you, Colleen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. We're set.
Is that
May
Thursday?
26th. It's a Thursday.
Okay.
That was, somebody asked that in the SU, and,
So much better Thursday for me than Friday.
well, apparently Friday, especially before a Memorial Day weekend, leads to
Okay.
decreased attendance in the afternoon. All right, 7.2, special early retirement incentive program approval. Do you want me to take a run, or you want to talk to? All right, so over the last several months, we talked about providing some type of incentive in connection with our budget compilation to encourage teachers that are meeting certain criteria to take retirement and provide them monetary relief. We had set a minimum number of participants at 6, and we got 5. So we have the choice to say, no, we really wanted 6 and we're not going to approve, or we have the choice to essentially modify that 6 to 5 and say, yep, we're still going to go forward.
I can't remember the financial, I read it, but I didn't bring a hard copy.
I'm going to let Jeff or Allegra answer that question, but I will tell you that I did have a couple of conversations with them, and I think they're still going to say their recommendation is to go forward, and so that is mine as well. But go ahead.
So the financial implication is significant, $70,000. But what we've been in communication with CSSU, and what we would do is, depending where Keith made mention of going back to the FMR, is in the FMR we're doing well this year in terms of meeting our targets and possibly doing even a little bit better. And if at the end of the year, instead of adding to our fund balance, if we finish in the positives, what we would do is we'd use that money to offset the cost. And if the 70,000 was over the amount that we finished the year in the positive, then we would dip into the fund balance. But it would all
Because-
come off of this year's books.
Because we had the flexibility under the program to pay June 30th or July 1st,
Oh,
depending on which way it worked
So it
for
wouldn't
our
have,
budget.
okay.
it would only have positive impacts moving forward. We would take care of all the expenses incurred in this fiscal year.
And net is 70 for this year? Oh, because you're just getting basically the buyout.
Mhm.
So, I think you just said it, but let me be a positive impact going forward, well above and beyond the 70 that we're gonna incur this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, the hope.
Right.
It's
Well,
5 full-time teachers?
No.
No.
Should
And
we-
we obviously can't talk we can't talk people.
So, let me just clarify, so the agreement allows for a June 30th or July 1, which gives us the flexibility of the fiscal year, which is helpful. And we have 5 that signed on, not hitting our goal of 6, and administrators' recommendation is to,
Correct that.
yeah,
I
just
see.
go with 5.
I'll go back to the full-time. So, the buyout for those that aren't full-time would be, prorated, or, I'm not sure if that's the correct term,
Yeah.
but. So they obviously wouldn't get the full, they would get whatever their percentage was.
So do you need a motion from us? Is that-
I think I do need a motion.
Bill, did you have more questions on
I think I do, but.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. We don't have the flexibility to do it on one or the other. It says it will be made on June 30, so it is in this budget year.
that?
So whatever we do, it has no effect on next year's budget.
And part of our recommendation is based on that, and, we don't wanna steal from the coffers, but our fund balance is such that,
The only thing we
It's-
might hit up against is the 25K anticipated needed for the special education
but the,
budget.
but the budget that is going forward to the voters, it's gonna, be a positive for us moving forward, just in the budgetary sense.
Mhm.
And it's gonna, it would allow for us to be able to revisit some of those decisions that we had during our budget meetings.
I guess what I'm just trying to get clear in my mind is what is our estimated savings, to take the 70 out of it, estimate savings next year to the budget versus?
Can I give you a hypothetical?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So, so if a retiring teacher is, at the top of the salary
Right.
schedule with benefits,
Right.
it's over 100,000,
Right,
total cost, and then, let's say, the UVM student applies, gets a position, bottom of the salary schedule, benefits maybe not, 50,000.
but generally, we don't bring in people at the bottom of the salary scale.
Yeah, but that's the hypothetical.
So in 3 to 5 years into their,
So what you're saying is
Career.
50 for one position, 100 for 2 positions, it's gonna cost us 70 additional, so the delta's 30, first year out of the box, but going forward, we're saving.
Hypothetically.
Right, I understood,
Yeah.
understood, I just wanna make sure it would,
But that's for one person.
right, so if we have 2 additions, so we're doing 5 instead of 3, we got 3 already.
Right.
So, I just wanna make sure that the math is.
I thought we had 2. We had 3?
3.
At 3. So
So
two
it's-
more signed up for this.
I don't understand your comment that, well, if we're gonna take the hit in this year and we use fund balance if we need to? I thought we couldn't use any more fund balance than we had.
Well, if you run a deficit, you use, so if we end up in a deficit.
You gotta pay for it somehow.
But Jeff's thinking that the budget's in such good shape that when you have to go there, we'll,
and then you go to the voters afterwards for affirmation?
Yeah, I thought Elaine told us, no, you can't do that.
You can only spend what the budget was approved.
if we run a deficit in 1 year, how does the board make up for that deficit?
You'd look to the board would look to the fund balance first and determine whether or not you use the fund. That's what the local would do, because you, unlike CSSU, can't assess back to anyone. So you would.
So hypothetically, the fund balance comes from money that was already approved in prior
Right.
years.
Right, that we didn't spend.
Right, okay. Right.
That's the budget, piece. There's obviously other pieces. We feel
And we're
strongly
talking
about that.
we're talking about personnel, so we have to be cautious.
No.
Right.
No, I mean, there's a myriad of
Yeah.
other factors. I mean, we don't, Allegra and I never base decisions just on one element. All we've talked about is the budget piece, and so I just wanted to remind people that it's multifaceted.
So the question I'm gonna ask, and I think I know the answer to ask anyway, is based upon the projected hopeful monetary savings and the impact on kids, or your comfort with
All the other
these folks
factors.
going, you guys support us going, accepting the 5.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
What would you like the motion to be, Mr. Chair?
I would like the motion to be something to the effect of the board approves a change to the special early retirement program approval that was approved, I don't know the date. We approved it previously, amending the minimum number of participants from 6 to 5.
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you, Colleen. Thank you, Kathy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much. Consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
So moved.
Thank you, Bill.
Second?
Thank you, Colleen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Next meeting dates. Annual board meeting, annual school district meeting, February 29th. Kathy's last meeting as a board member. Then we go back to March 15 for a regular school board meeting for us and the SU. April board meeting, we moved a week later to the 26th. All right. Before we adjourn then, I think we have an executive session to talk about personnel. So I would entertain a motion to move into executive session. You wanna
So
sign
moved.
this?
I think Kathy should sign it.
Kathy should sign that. Thank you for that motion, Kathy.